tragedy. That's the only way this story ends. Season 2 gives us clues as to what we can expect in Season 3 of The Bad Batch, and it's not going to end well for Clone Force 99. Season 1 deals with the escape and hiding from the Empire, but Season 2, everything changes. Hunter's focus and goal is protecting Omega. He really wants a better life for her, away from war and their life as fugitives. The group starts to split though, as Echo specifically realizes that fighting for more than just their own survival is what they really need to be doing. Now they're still tied to Sid at this point when she convinces the team to infiltrate an Imperial base on Sereno, the home of the late Count Dooku. Now, the war chest that belonged to the former Sith Lord is there, with enough riches for Hunter to be able to hide away and give Omega the life she deserves. Unfortunately, the Imperials are already there. Now things don't go according to plan, naturally, and they barely escape with their lives. Now at this point, the Imperials believe that Clone Force 99 all died on Kamino, but Clone Captain Wilco sees the crew on Sereno and makes his report to Admiral Rampart. Now Rampart is like most Imperials. He only cares about climbing the ranks, and he's terrified of the consequences of any failure. So learning of the survival of Clone Force 99 is a direct threat to his life. He kills Captain Wilco, who wasn't willing to falsify his report about the Bad Batch surviving. Tarkin would have undoubtedly killed him for failing to get rid of Clone Force 99 and for reporting that they were, of course, no longer a threat. So Crosshair, meanwhile, is still being a good soldier for the Empire. He's placed under Commander Cody on a mission to Desix, where Cody shares some pretty eye-opening thoughts with Crosshair. Now we start to see here Crosshair's perspective, how Rampart and the rest of the Imperials see and treat the clones. On Desix, Crosshair and Cody battle the locals who are resisting the Imperial takeover. Cody actually goes AWOL after this mission, and this is huge. Crosshair sees that even the great Commander Cody is willing to abandon the Empire because something isn't right. Senator Chuchi also learns from a clone named Slip that was aboard Admiral Rampart's Venator that the story about Kamino, that it was destroyed in a violent storm, is actually a lie. It was Admiral Rampart and his fleet that destroyed Tapoka City and the Kaminoans. The Emperor gave Rampart the mission to bring forth the Imperial Stormtrooper program and begin phasing out the clones, but it needed the approval through the Senate. Senator Chuchi was adamant about caring for the clones during the transition and wouldn't pass the bill for the new Stormtrooper program unless their needs were met. That is, until Slip tells her about what's really going on and what really happened to Kamino. Now unfortunately, Rampart has Slip killed, but right before he dies, he's able to reach out to our friend CT-7567, Captain Rex. He arrives as Slip and the Senator are meeting in secret when an unknown assassin kills Slip. Rex is able to help the Senator escape. Rex and Clone Force 99 sneak aboard Rampart's Venator, which is being retrofitted at the time on the Imperial shipyards on Coruscant. They steal the records of the attack on Tapoka City and are able to deliver it to Bail Organa and Senator Chuchi just in time for the Senate vote. The entire Senate sees this attack on Tapoka City, and the Imperial Stormtrooper program is all but dead in the water. Or so it seems. Just then, Palpatine emerges from his chambers in grand fashion. Now he twists this situation brilliantly. It's like he planned for this. Just like the fall of the Jedi, there is no stopping Palpatine from getting exactly what he wants.
Admiral Rampart will face the consequences for his treachery. He did not act alone. The fact that the clones under his command so blindly followed orders, inflicting such carnage without hesitation, gives me pause.
So the clones were chosen to defend the Republic, and then they turn on the Jedi because good soldiers follow orders, and then now they're going to be decommissioned because they blindly follow orders. Now Palpatine uses this brilliantly to bring in his Imperial Stormtrooper program, and there isn't anything anyone can do about it. Now we start to also see here Echo has started to feel differently about where he belongs. He believes that hiding and running isn't what they should be doing. that the oppression of the Empire has left people of the galaxy fighting for their lives, and he needs to be out there fighting for them. So he rejoins Captain Rex, who by this time is in the very early workings of a loose rebellion. It's still another 15 years or so until Rex reunites with Ahsoka and joins Phoenix Squadron. Here we see Dr. Hemlock, a clone scientist who's in need of Nala Se's knowledge of cloning to carry out the orders given to him by Palpatine. Now we're going to go over that in a minute because the secret project is extremely important to Palpatine. Nala Se has been refusing to help, so Hemlock brings Lama Su out from Imperial imprisonment. Lama Su tells Hemlock that the only way that Nala Se will help is to capture Omega. That is the button Hemlock needs to press in order to get her to help with this secret cloning project. Now, Crosshair is assigned to a remote outpost where Commander Mayday has been calling for reinforcements while guarding some mysterious cargo. Now, this cargo turns out to be the new Stormtrooper armor. Commander Mayday has been calling for help for the Imperials for 36 rotations. Many of his men had died, their armor was barely holding together, and they were being attacked by locals in this inhospitable planet. Crosshair and Mayday are barely able to escape an attack when this Imperial lieutenant lets Mayday die right in front of him at the outpost instead of helping him. Now, this is pretty much it for Crosshair. His transformation, as he realizes that he can no longer serve the Empire, is one of my favorite parts of this season. He's brought to Mount Tantis where he tries to escape, and he's able to get a message out before he's recaptured. Plan 88. And Hemlock offers a deal to Crosshair. He gives the location of his former team, he gets to go free, but Crosshair stays loyal to his brothers and sister. Clone Force 99 meanwhile is on a planet called Pabu, a little planet far away from the eyes of the Empire. Echo rejoins them on the planet and brings some information about Crosshair. They learn that Hemlock is the head of a cloning program called the Advanced Science Division. It's a top secret program dealing with cloning, and despite the possibility of Crosshair's Plan 88 message being a trap, the crew decides that they won't leave their brother behind. Echo discovers that Hemlock is headed to a secret meeting on Eriadu, the home of Governor Tarkin, to attend a meeting with Tarkin, Yularen, Orson Krennic, and a few others. Now the goal is to plant a beacon on Hemlock's ship so that they can track him back to wherever they are holding Crosshair. The compound on Eriadu is almost impossible to get to. It's located at the top of a high mountain surrounded by nothing but canyons way down below. Now the only access en route is by a ship or by a rail car on a cable. So they sneak onto the rail car and get to the base where they find out that the surveillance system is somehow already down. That's when they run into Saw Gerrera. Now Saw's there on a mission to blow up the entire compound. He's learned that Tarkin and Krennic and Hemlock are all meeting here, and his goal, of course, is bigger picture of blowing up the entire compound. This mission is in direct conflict to the mission of Clone Force 99. Their mission is to find Crosshair. They need Hemlock to survive and not be destroyed. They need the compound not to be destroyed so they can find Crosshair. Now then Tarkin is notified and Clone Force 99 as well as Saw start their escape. Saw had planted explosives around the compound. Omega plants a beacon on Hemlock's ship. Saw gets away on a ship and detonates the explosives, but the compound survives. Tarkin then sends a few Alpha 3 class Nebula starfighters after the rail cars. Saw gets away and the explosions all knock out the power to the rail cars that Clone Force 99 is trying to escape in. The starfighters start shooting down the cars holding the crew when tragedy strikes. The power is restored, but one of the rail cars is hanging from the other. It needs to be disconnected, but unfortunately, Tech is also attached to the hanging rail car.
Plan 99.
Don't you do it, Tech.
When have we ever followed orders?
Now they make it back to Ord Mantell where Sid hides them, but she finally here shows her true colors. She alerts the Empire and Hemlock shows up with some clone commandos. They capture Wrecker, Hunter, and Omega until Echo is able to at least get Hunter and Wrecker free. Omega is captured, taken back to Mount Tantis, where we find out that the scientist who's been with Crosshair all along is also a clone. And we also see some cloning cylinders around the room where Crosshair is being held. Alright, so let's break down a few things. First, what program is Dr. Hemlock in charge of that's so important to the Emperor? Now, I think there's two possibilities. One is the Dark Trooper program. Now this is the one I'm leaning towards. Now when Hemlock is on Eriadu during season 2, meeting with Tarkin and Krennic, he talks about finding a use for the decommissioned clones. Now we see one of his experiments early in the second season, the unmarked clone assassin known as Clone X. He's the one trying to kill Senator Chuchi, and he ends up killing the clone Slip. This clone was cybernetically enhanced and mind wiped. We also see another one of these in the new season 3 trailer. He's standing in front of a battalion of stormtroopers on what looks to be the peaceful planet of Pabu. Now I think what Hemlock is working on here is phase 1 of the Dark Trooper program. And by the time of The Mandalorian, they've implemented phase 3 of the Dark Troopers, getting rid of the final weakness, which was the human element. Now the second possibility is that this could be the early stages of Project Necromancer. We could see Dr. Pershing during this season, maybe even taking over at some point for Dr. Hemlock. Pershing wears the same uniform as the ones we see on Mount Tantis. Now, they eventually want to use Grogu's blood in their experiments in cloning like Force-sensitive beings. Now, this could also eventually lead to Snoke. Now, whether that's done here on Tantis, or maybe we see Tantis destroyed and Palpatine has to move his cloning experiments over to Exegol. Now, either way, we see in the trailer that this project is clearly top priority for Palpatine. There is really only one way the fate of Clone Force 99 plays out: tragedy. We don't see Echo later on in Rebels, where we find Rex, Wolf, and Gregor on Selos, and we see nothing of Hunter, Wrecker, or Omega anywhere in the Rebellion. Now we do see Wolf in the trailer, but he still, at this point, appears to be loyal to the Empire, but we may get to see him maybe remove his inhibitor chip and possibly join Rex. And Crosshair? We all know Crosshair is a killer. He's an enhanced clone. I think that he's extremely important to the cloning project, especially if they're working on the Dark Trooper program. Now, one clone that I didn't see in the trailer is Commander Cody. Cody went AWOL in the beginning of season 2 when he was with Crosshair, and he's probably gonna, I hope, seek out Captain Rex. But again, we don't see him at all, and we don't see him during the timeline of the Rebels in Rebellion or anything. Now, I think the Empire will probably go the way of hired guns and bounty hunters to track down the crew. Now, this could bring a few interesting possibilities. One, Delta Force. This could be a big factor in season 3. But one of my hopes was, what I got confirmed in the trailer, is that we're going to see Cad Bane. Now with Cad Bane, hopefully we get to see his, I think at this time might be his former apprentice in Boba Fett. Now this would be awesome and probably a little heartbreaking. Boba takes down the crew along with the other only unaltered clone, Omega, which is his sister. All right, now, is Tech really dead? I think so. But they did find his goggles. It leaves it open, I guess. So I wouldn't be surprised if either way they use his DNA for cloning experiments, or they try and keep him alive for the same reason. Now, I'm not quite sure what to make of Emery, the scientist and the sister of Omega and the other Jango Fett clones. I think she wants to help him, and I think in season 3 it seems like she's probably going to get her opportunity, but I'm not thinking it's going to be enough. Now, I think Crosshair is going to be devastated when he learns about Tech's death. I don't think he's going to take it very well. Now, we do get to see in the trailer in a few different spots that he is back with Hunter and Wrecker. So I'm guessing that we're going to see them rescue Crosshair towards maybe the beginning of the season, or Crosshair's going to escape somehow. They're not going to be able to get to Omega, or if Crosshair escapes, he doesn't get Omega. He's going to go out, grab the boys, and bring them back to Tantis to finally rescue Omega, maybe in the middle or towards the end of the season. Finally, we have the appearance of Asajj Ventress. Now, I talked about this in my trailer breakdown. Her death is clearly in the canon book Dark Disciple. StarWars.com did release an article talking about how they're going to keep it within the timeline and with the events, so it's not going to be retcon. So how is this going to work? One thing that stuck out to me in the article was the words supposedly perished. So they're probably going to retcon her death in the book, but they're going to use a loophole. Unfortunately, this is becoming a trend with Lucasfilm under Disney.
But we must be careful. No one must know.
And Filoni does this a lot with books. What they could do is Night Sister magic, but that you generally will turn into like zombies. It really doesn't turn into what looks like Ventress in the trailer. It also could be a clone. It could be a flashback. Or worst case scenario, in my opinion, they could just say that somehow she didn't die from getting hit by Dooku's Sith lightning. Now, I love Asajj Ventress. I think it was a shame that her death wasn't on screen, that it was actually in a book. But I am open to seeing how they bring her into the Bad Batch story, and I hope that they make it make sense. Now, what do you think the fate of Clone Force 99 is going to be? Let me know in the comments. Now, one of my favorite Bad Batchers is Echo. He's a hero that's been through some absolutely horrifying things. Click here to see his story. Thank you guys so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.